Governors, traditional leaders meet over power outage and development initiatives in the north. Federal government reaffirms commitment to full implementation of 70,000 naira minimum wage. And Senate set to begin screening and confirmation of ministerial nominees Tuesday. Hello and welcome to the late evening news at 11 on Nta News24. My name is Justin Bemwi. President Bola Tinubu has directed the security agencies to provide an immediate adequate security cover for the personnel of the Transmission Company of Nigeria in order to restore power supply to the northern states currently experiencing power outage. Minister of Power Adebayo Adelabu disclosed this after briefing President Bola Tinubu on the power supply situation in the north. 17 states of the north are currently in blackout due to the vandalization of the Shiroro-Kaduna transmission line, a major line supplying power to the northern part of the country.
You are sure of your safety in the area. Why it has escalated to this level is because we've not been able to guarantee security of lives of those that will work there. But Mr. President has assured me that he has also instructed the NSA, the Chief of Defense Staff, the Chief of Army Staff, and Chief of Air Staff to provide the required security for the people that will fix the demolished line.
The minister also speaks on reasons for incessant collapse of the national grid in parts of the country.
Like you mentioned, you said 3 times, the grid actually was disturbed one time, and we deliberately shut it down the second time because of the explosion of the transformer at the Jeba plant. Before this, the last disturbance of the grid was about 4 months ago, which meant that we have been managing the grid. Let me tell you, the truth of the matter is we have old infrastructure. We have a national grid that is more than 50 years old. We have a national grid whose transmission lines are weak. The towers are falling. And the substations, the transformers are old. In fact, the transformer that actually exploded in Jeba was 47 years old. We've been trying to revamp this, to change them, but they cannot all be changed overnight. So it's like you're having a rickety car. You'll be expecting breakdown once in a while. What we continue to do is continue to manage the grid to prevent frequent occurrence of the grid disturbance until we're able to completely overhaul the grid itself. Then we'll have reliable grid. Secondly, we are working on establishing what is called a super grid, which is a backup or failover optional grid. If the national grid has a problem, there will be an alternative route through which power can be transmitted.
Now, the Northern Governors Forum, in collaboration with traditional rulers, have resolved to work closely with the federal government to end the ongoing power outages in the north. Mohammed Umar Ajingi reports that the chairman of the forum, Mohammed Inuwa Yahaya, during their meeting in Kaduna says the governors will also take advantage of the compressed natural gas initiatives as well as the livestock development projects to drive economic growth and improve the well-being of their people.
The northern governors and the custodians of the cultural heritage of the region, one by one, arriving for another meeting to address the challenges facing the north. It began with the host governor, Ubasani, and the Northern Governors Forum Chairman Muhammad Inuwa Yahaya setting the tone for the discussions.
We must work with the federal government to ensure that fiscal policies are sensitive to the realities of the day. As we speak today, most of our northern states are in darkness due to vandalization of electricity transmission infrastructure. This not only underscores the vulnerability of critical infrastructure, but also the need to build additional transmission lines.
Let me use this opportunity to commend our dear President, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, for reinvigorating the war against terrorists, bandits, the establishment of a joint military command and launching of Operation Fansanyama are clear demonstrations of the federal government's commitment to decisively tackle the multidimensional challenges of insecurity confronting the North.
Then the Sultan of Sokoto and the Chief of Defense Staff General Christopher Musa shared their experiences, emphasizing the need to strengthen cooperation among the northern leaders as well as all stakeholders involved to effectively address the issues.
One point I didn't hear was the establishment of the Almajiri and out-of-school children commissioned by the federal government, which we 100% supported, and the leader of that team had already been with us and we've discussed. I think we must include it in what we're going to discuss because the issue of out-of-school children, Almajiri, is a very sore problem to all of us.
For us, cooperation is very, very key and very critical to our success. By working hand in hand, we can overcome the challenges before us and pave the way for a better northern Nigeria. It was in this vein that the Armed Forces of Nigeria recently rejigged its operation in the Northwest with the launch of operationalization of Joint Task Force Operation Fansanyama.
It is expected that at the end of their deliberations, the leaders will come up with an alternative ways of solving the problems. In Kaduna, I am Muhammad Umarajinki, Nta News.
Now, Vice President Kashim Shettima has briefed President Bola Tinubu on matters of state during the 2-week vacation of the Nigerian leader abroad. The Vice President met with his boss this Monday. Vice President Kashim Shettima returned to the country Saturday morning from his aborted trip to the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, Chogum, in Samoa, where he was supposed to represent his principal. He was also in Sweden while the president was away on break. The federal government has expressed satisfaction with responses from some state governments who have announced their new minimum wage in following the declaration by the federal government. Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, who was in the State House to discuss state affairs with President Bola Tinubu, was a significant member of the Tripartite Committee on the National Minimum Wage. While reiterating federal government's commitment to the new pay benchmark, the SGF urges the subnationals to ensure implementation.
Very satisfied with it. And some state governments have started implementing. Others have even gone beyond 70. So I believe that there's no problem with that whatsoever. We applaud those who have started. Those who have not started, we just want to appeal to them to start the payments.
Now, the 7 ministerial nominees recently appointed by President Tinubu have made documentation ahead of their screening and confirmation by the Senate, which commences on Tuesday, October 29, 2024. In a statement, the Special Advisor to the President on National Assembly Matters, Senator Bashir Lado, says that the nominees have submitted relevant documents as the first in the series of procedures for the screening and confirmation. The nominees are expected to be screened and confirmed by the Senate in compliance with Section 147 of the Constitution. And now, investment in education institutions that will drive innovation, sustainability, economic growth, and create jobs is the cornerstone for national development. President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, said these at a public hearing of a bill that seeks the establishment of the Federal University of Agriculture and Entrepreneurship to enhance recovery efforts in northeast Nigeria. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports.
Harnessing the potential of agriculture and equipping the youth for challenges of the 21st century formed the motive for the establishment of the proposed Federal University of Agriculture and Entrepreneurship in Bama, Borno State. President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, represented by the Senate Chief Whip, notes the significance of the institution.
The agricultural sector holds immense potentials for job creation and food security, and it is imperative that we harness these potentials through education and research. Entrepreneurship training will equip graduates to innovate, create, and drive local economy, particularly in a region that has experienced considerable hardship.
Sponsor of the bill says the university will train youths in various areas for self-reliance.
Nigeria's unemployment rate in the first quarter of 2024 rose to 5.3%. The proposed university, which focuses on agriculture and entrepreneurship, will provide a platform for youths to transform opportunities to business ventures and accordingly manage those ventures to become a medium for job creation for themselves and others.
Other stakeholders expressed support for the creation of the institution. In another development, the Senate Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters was at the Supreme Court as it seeks collaboration with the Chief Justice of Nigeria for efficiency in the justice system.
Amendments that have to be done to several laws and also the Constitution to put into place the reforms that we think are necessary. At the end of the day, they say the judiciary is the last hope of the common man. But part of that also is that the judicial system is effective and efficient.
It was the first engagement between the committee and the Chief Justice. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, Nta News.
The National Assembly has expressed strong commitment towards enacting legislations that will guarantee greater inclusion of women in governance structure in Nigeria. Speaker House of Representatives Tajuddin Abbas gave this pledge at the International Legislative Dialogue on Women in Nigeria, organized by the House Committee on Constitution Review. National Assembly correspondent Mitare Ekben reports.
Women representation in governance in Nigeria has been low despite their population and influence across various sectors. The National Assembly, for instance, currently has only 20 out of 469 seats occupied by women. Speakers at this legislative dialogue on women and constitution amendment process attribute the situation to perception and institutional barriers which must be dismantled.
If we trust women to shape our homes, nurture our own families, and educate our children, we must also trust them to contribute to shaping our nation's future. I have directed the Constitution Review Committee to focus on reforms that promote gender equity and provide additional or reserved seats for women in our legislative bodies.
We must ensure that the national and state houses of assembly are inclusive and welcoming to women.
Just as justice is blind, so too must our laws, appointments, and opportunities be gender neutral.
There is indeed no shortage of intelligent, ambitious, and capable women potential leaders in Nigeria, but multiple obstacles hinder their leadership aspirations and candidacy.
Reflecting on constitution amendment antecedents, participants stressed the need for state legislatures to key into the resolve of federal lawmakers to guarantee inclusion for women in elective and appointive positions.
Our commitment is essential for driving the change that women in Nigeria so rightly deserve.
Thank you for leading that conversation, Mr. Speaker and Deputy Speaker, around dedicated quotas for women.
We hope that after today's conversations, we will go back with stronger legislations and stronger gender policies that will be specific.
The event climaxed with a statement of agreement to support constitution amendments that will promote special seats for women in national and state assemblies, as well as gender equity in the Federal Character Commission. In Abuja, Mitaire Ikben, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the House of Representatives says it is monitoring media reports concerning an incident of alleged assault involving Representative Alex Ikweche and a taxi app driver, Stephen Abuatea, which reportedly featured the use of threatening language. House spokesman Akin Rotimi says the 10th House of Representatives takes these allegations very seriously, as it is dedicated to upholding the values of accountability, transparency and ethical behavior. He notes that as elected officials, lawmakers hold themselves to the highest standards of ethical conduct, whether during official engagements or privately. He states that any behavior that falls short of ethical standards is a matter of concern to the House of Representatives, which is committed to addressing such issues with utmost seriousness. He urges the public to allow due process of police investigation to follow its course, as the matter is now before the Nigeria Police. We'll now take a short break. More reports when we return. Do stay with us. Inclusivity, open door policy and consolidation of the efforts of past leaders will be the priority of Iman Suleiman as she takes over the baton of leadership as a new Minister of Women Affairs. Gender correspondent Momso Damien Dati reports that the new Sheriff has already hit the ground running.
Staffers of the ministry, leaders of various women groups and organizations expressed their expectations.
Nigerian women are saying that they have competencies for governance, they have competencies in professionals, they have competencies around. It should be 50-50 for all of us so that we can have an accelerated development where everyone matters.
We deal with the institution, not the individuals, but the individuals make the institution.
We believe Mr. President has done the right thing, bringing someone who understands gender issues.
To hit the ground running, she's just a round peg in a round hole.
We're all expecting that the mistakes that have been made in the past will be corrected.
To contribute to women empowerment in Nigeria.
No woman will be left behind, the new minister promises.
For Mr. President, it's very important that there's development for the women, there's prosperity for the women, there's peace. That working together will be able to achieve the renewed hope agenda for every woman and every child and man.
Momso Damien Dati, NTA News.
The Office of the National Security Advisor has convened a meeting of stakeholders to strengthen the country's ability to protect its digital infrastructure from emerging threats. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa reports that the application of digital technology has heightened the vulnerability of digital assets in the country.
Nigeria's digital infrastructure faces a range of cyber threats and attacks. Aside from threats to private computers and mobile devices, telecommunication and banking networks are also subjects of large-scale attacks.
We have strengthened our resolve to effectively confront these threats. This workshop provides the platform for us to jointly develop the roadmap for the implementation of the initiatives spelled out in the executive order.
In 2023, More than 14 billion naira was lost to breaches to digital infrastructure.
These are only figures reported to the NCC. These figures illustrate not only a direct financial burden, but also an extensive impact on our services, economy, and national security.
In addition to bolstering cyber resilience, the forum is focused on strengthening stakeholders' ability to physically protect critical infrastructure.
The armed forces are committed to take the challenge and work with the Office of the National Security Advisor on whatever resolution is being reached and whatever strategies have been developed.
It is Mr. President's strategy, policy, and determination to improve the power sector, because that's what all these things sit on.
When a critical information infrastructure is being cut off, you cannot talk to anybody, you cannot even book your flight, you cannot travel, you cannot do anything. So that is how bad it will be if these things happens. The expectation is to work together, whole of government and whole of society approach. It is all of us here together that can deal with it.
The bulk of efforts is on protecting 13 critical national infrastructure. Just like the popular saying, security is everyone's business. This platform stressed the need for collective responsibility towards the protection of critical government infrastructure and information, and also the adoption of a whole of a society approach. In Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, through King Salman Humanitarian Aid and Relief Center, has hosted a donors conference in Jeddah, raising over $1.1 billion in pledges to support displaced persons and refugees across the Sahel and Lake Chad regions. Tokbe Alabi reports that the funding commitment was made possible by contributions of more than 10 donor countries, agencies, and organizations dedicated to addressing the growing humanitarian needs in the crisis-hit areas.
The conference, held in collaboration with the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, OIC, the United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, OCHA, and the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, UNHCR, is to provide urgent humanitarian assistance to the people of Nigeria, Niger, Chad, Burkina Faso, and Mali, who were victims of various crises and natural disasters. Saudi Arabia's Royal Court Advisor and Supervisor General of King Salman Humanitarian Aid and Relief Center, KS Relief, Dr. Abdullah Arabia, expressed heartfelt appreciation for the generosity shown by the donor community, noting that the contributions are not only demonstrating solidarity, but also empowering humanitarian organizations to deliver life-saving support, contributing to greater security and resilience for affected populations.
The importance of public-private partnership, like the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is engaging the private sector, engaging also through public fundraising campaigns, how to raise attention for certain crises.
OIC Secretary General Hussein Brahim Toha stated that the conference is a testament to international unity, providing a platform for dialogue among humanitarian leaders. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres also lauded Saudi Arabia and the OIC for leading the event.
I sincerely thank all those that have contributed for their generosity. This will save lives and livelihoods. But I also ask countries to dig deeper to help fund our response plans in full. I urge action to move beyond aid and tackle the root causes of crises.
The Director General of Nigeria's National Emergency Management Agency, Zubaida Abubakar Umar, who was on the Nigerian delegation, also shared her insights about the recent devastating flood that ravaged some parts of the northern Nigeria.
We ensure that the community leaders take the lead, so also the state emergency management agencies. We also partner with the likes of the Red Cross, the OCHA, and this collaborative process ensures that relief efforts are informed by the voices of the affected populations.
With over 30 million people in the Sahel and Lake Chad regions requiring immediate assistance, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia further strengthened its commitment to the region by pledging an additional $30 million, bringing its total contributions for 2024 to $51 million. Tokpe Alabi, NTA News.
Ogun State Governor Dakpo Abiodun has commiserated with the Olowu of Owo Kingdom, Oba Saka Adelola Matemilola, over the death of his mother, Alhaji Aliratu Aduni Matemilola. The governor described the death of the matriarch of the royal household as a great loss, not only to her family and the Owu Kingdom, but also to the entire state. He said the deceased imbibed in her children the virtues of discipline, hard work and quality leadership which the Olowu has been exhibiting since ascending the throne. Governor Abiodun extends heartfelt condolences to the royal family and the Owu Kingdom and pray for the repose of her soul. In the same vein, former governor of Ogun State, Senator Ibikunle Amosun, also commiserated with Professor Saka Matemilola over the death of his mother. Senator Amosun, in a statement by his media aide, Lanre Akinwale, joined the Matemilola royal family to mourn the exit of Iyaoba, noting that her death has left a big vacuum that will be difficult to fill, emphasizing the important roles of parents in the lives of the children. He described the late Alhaja Matemilola as a doting mother who exemplified and cherished the values of quality parenting and proper upbringing of her children and other members of her family. The former governor enjoined Kabiesi not to mourn, but rather celebrate the eventful life his mother and her enduring legacies, praying that Almighty Allah would forgive her shortcomings and grant her Al-Jannah Firdaus. And this ends the news on Nta News 24. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Justin Berman and I say to have a wonderful night rest.